Hi everybody, Leo Babauta from Zen Habits here. Today I'm going to talk about the practice of self-trust and how to develop that in partnership with a coach, and why I think this is the best way to grow beyond our old patterns into the next level of our lives. I personally work with my own coach and my Zen teacher. So I really believe in this. And then I also coach others. I've worked with dozens of people through one-on-one coaching and in my Fearless Mastery coaching program. Um, I am right now, by the way, taking coaching clients. I have a couple of open spots. So if you want to check that out, come and talk with me. Coaching.zenhabits.net is the place to check it out, and then fill out a little bit of thing and schedule a call with me. It's a free call. We can talk, and I'd love to talk with you about coaching. But let's talk about why I think it's really helpful, and then what happens that stops people from doing coaching. I think this is a really interesting idea. So first of all, when people decide to jump in with me and start coaching, what happens is they are taking a leap of faith. I don't know if this coaching is going to work out. I don't know if I'm going to do a good job as a coaching client. I don't know what's going to happen in my life, if this is going to be worth the money, but I'm going to take a leap of faith. I trust Leo. I think he's a cool dude. And I really believe that this could pay off in a really big way. That's going to be worth the financial commitment, the time commitment, the energy commitment, the commitment. And so they're taking a leap of faith. This is a practice of trust. When you sign up for coaching, you've made a commitment where you don't know how it's going to work out. It's like taking a leap off of a cliff and just trusting that you can fly, right? Kind of crazy it might sound as I make that metaphor, but it actually starts to create some change in people's lives, because they're like, I am taking this leap of faith, not only in you, Leo, but in myself. And this kicks off a practice of self-trust that carries into our coaching work. So now they start to really commit to choosing what they want in their lives. They commit to taking action on it, creating what they want, whether it's more, better finances, a better job, a new business, better health, relationships, less procrastination, whatever it is that would be worth it for you to create. I want to make art in the world. I want to create content online. I want to write that book that's been waiting for me for 15 years. I want to make a career change. I want to deal with this transition period in my life. I want to move beyond my old patterns of self-recrimination or hiding or whatever it is that I've been doing. This is what happens when we commit ourselves to doing this work with a coach, is we have made a commitment and now we start to practice trusting ourselves. And that requires us to be able to walk a path of uncertainty. We don't know how things are going to work out. We don't know if we can do it, but we're just going to try it. That's the path of practicing self-trust. I just did a video on the, I think, transformative practice of self-trust. And I'm going to talk about working with a coach, because people don't usually understand that because they haven't worked with a coach before. We often think, oh, I can do it on my own. This is actually um, a thing that gets in the way for people when it comes to coaching, is like, I should do this on my own. I should be able to, or let me just try and do it on my own. And with that, that's you might think that that's some self-trust, but actually it's a lack of trust in yourself to be able to partner with someone else and make the most of it. I've talked about this in recent blog posts and videos, but I've been studying chess, which I'm not good at yet, but I've gotten a lot better. And I had this idea I should improve on my own. But what I realized is I actually don't know how to improve on my own. It's not that I don't know, how to get better, but I don't see the mistakes that I'm making. Other than the obvious ones that I already know are mistakes, I don't see other mistakes. And there's a lot of mistakes that I can make, but that I won't even know are mistakes. I can't see what I can't see. And if I don't know that something's a mistake, how how would I ever know it doing on my own? What I need is someone I can partner with who can show me where I don't understand things, where I can't see things for myself. Maybe I have a blind spot. And so I actually started working with a coach um, maybe a little more than a month ago, a month and a half ago. I started working with a coach, a friend of mine who's a better chess player, and it accelerated my growth because he started showing me things that I wouldn't have even known to like Google. I wouldn't have known to look this stuff up. He can see things in my game that I can't see, that I wouldn't have known to look for. And this is actually how it works in the kind of coaching that I do as well. I can see things as I talk with people. I can see things because I've gone through and done my own work. I work with my own coach, and I've worked with dozens and dozens of people. I can see things that they can't see, whether it's habits or productivity or simplifying your life or growing to the next level in whatever you're doing. I know this stuff in and out. And so I can see things that they can't see. And so the practice of self trust in partnership with a coach is to say, hey, I want to practice trusting myself, but I also want to practice trusting someone else to help me to practice with my own self trust. I want you to show me where I can't, what I can't see. What are my blind spots? And then I will trust you to show me those blind spots and then trust myself to work with those blind spots. And through this partnership, I will be able to grow beyond where I am right now. Now, the practice of self-trust on your own will actually be incredible, but it will also just be within what you already know. You will get better and better at trusting yourself in the area you already know how to do things, but you'll just do them better, which is great. But you won't be able to break beyond that because you can't see that there is something beyond what you already know. And so working with a coach, the coach is like, oh yeah, have you considered this? And you're like, crap, I didn't even know that that was a thing. Or have you considered that you're doing this? I notice you're doing this. Oh, I didn't know I was doing that. If you don't know you're doing it, how would you practice self-trust to go beyond that? So a coach can reflect things to you that you can't see, blind spots, things that you wouldn't have even imagined because it's the water that you're swimming in. So this is how it works. Coaches reflect things to you, give you some feedback, partner with you, listen to you, and then encourage you when things are, you need some encouragement, acknowledge you when you need some, you know, feeling of acknowledgement, but also be willing to give you that feedback. You're like, I didn't even know I was doing that. Now, one thing I've noticed when people don't get a coach, one of the things that, I've already mentioned it is I should do as much as I can on my own first, which is totally fine. Do as much as, there's free resources, read my blog posts, watch these videos, do as much as you can on your own. I think that's cool. But let's imagine a year from now. I'll ask you, like, now would you like to do some coaching? No, actually, there's still a lot more I can do on my own. So now we're 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Have you maximized everything you can do on your own? No, I probably have 2 more decades left. So you can do that forever. And it becomes a little bit of a trap where you get stuck in it because you're like, I can do more on my own, so I should, right? But what if for those 5 years, instead of doing it on your own, you had partnered with a coach and that coach helped you to grow not just at the level that you're reliable to do on your own, but at an exponential rate? Now, if that were the case, then it would be actually a huge, huge mistake to wait until some undetermined point in the future when you've done all the work you can on your own. You're like, actually, I should have been partnering with you years ago. And I'd be in a very different place right now if I had started back then. And so what I'm telling you is there's actually no end to how much you can do on your own. As a chess player, for example, I can do tactics, I can learn openings, I can study endgames, I can read books, I can watch YouTube videos, courses for 10 lifetimes. And I will not have exhausted the self-study options. But will that have gotten me over those 10 lifetimes or 10 years? Will that have gotten me to the maximum of my potential? No. I would probably be at, 5% of my potential because I decided to try and do whatever I can on my own for 10 years. Instead, I could have really grown to whatever my potential is. I don't know what that is yet. I don't know what my ceiling is because I haven't actually hit it yet. But at some point, I'll actually hit my potential, whatever that is. Maybe I'll be freaking, world champion someday. Maybe I'll be a grandmaster. Maybe I'll be at expert level. Maybe I'll hit, in chess, a respectable number like 15, 1600. I'm not there yet. Whatever my potential is, I will hit it using a coach much faster, much faster than I will doing it on my own. And so that's just a very simple example, very trivial example actually of how we can, you know, work on our own forever. The other area that I've noticed that trips people up when it comes to coaching is I'm really embarrassed by how messy my life is, which is kind of like my coach used the analogy of it's kind of like I want to clean up my house before the housekeeper comes. Now, I don't have a housekeeper, but I've heard this so many times. People who do have a housekeeping service, they want to clean up their whole house so that the housekeeper doesn't come in and see the mess. It's like, come on, that's their job. That's why you're paying them money. Let them clean the house. Who cares about the mess? We all have messes. And so that's what happens in coaching is people are like, I will work with you after I've gotten my life in order. After I've done better with my money and my finances are in a better place and then like I'm not in such an embarrassing place and then I'll work with you and I can feel less embarrassed about myself. Instead, what if you trusted yourself to be vulnerable with someone else and show them your mess and just trust them that they're gonna, not judge you, but actually understand you and help you to get to the next level. Now, that is how I work with my clients. I don't care if someone's life is in a complete mess, if they are like procrastinating all day long, or if they're addicted to their phones or video games or porn or, marijuana or alcohol. I don't care about all of that. I don't care if they're overweight and eating way too much Oreos. I've been in all of these places, all of them. I know all of this stuff. And I've worked with many people who've been struggling with that kind of stuff. So I don't care. I have no judgment. All I am here to do is connect with you and work with you so that you can improve things. I'm here to help. That's my job. I'm not here to judge you. So it's a vulnerable thing. I get it. I know what that's like. I was vulnerable with my coach and I get scared to be vulnerable with him, but I trust him. And I practice trusting him and I practice trusting myself to be vulnerable and to work it out through the messiness. Be like, I'm embarrassed at how little I've done in this area. Okay, great. Let's take a look. Let's do this together and let's figure it out. See what we can see. That is what it's like to work with a coach. There are things that get in the way. If those get in the way for you, I would encourage you just to reach out to me. Let's talk. Trust me. Trust yourself as well in the process. Coaching.zenhabits.net. Look it up. Let's talk. And I'd love to work with you.